What's up, everybody? Ryan Thomas, live on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I have had I don't know what word to use. I have had a little bit of a rough time, we'll just say, these last few days hopping on here and putting some podcasts together. Some guests were supposed to come on, and I couldn't get them on, and not due to technical difficulties, but yesterday, today's Thursday, October 3rd. Yesterday, I had the worst stomach ache in recent memory for me. It was pretty tough. No Tums were needed, though. I powered through it and moved forward. I didn't eat anything bad. As a matter of fact, I'm actually eating really, really clean, trying to lose weight, getting in the gym, trying to put some work in, and trying to, just get on the straight and narrow path of healthy me, healthy living, whatever you want to call it. And I honestly think that my stomach is so used to not eating well, eating the pizza, eating the wings, eating fattening foods, that now that I'm eating clean, my body is like is going into a shock. Like I'm not even saying that as a joke. I'm being dead serious. You can laugh at that all you want, and you're more than welcome to. But honest, like I'm eating clean. I'm eating really well, and I'm happy about it. But my stomach yesterday, Wednesday, was just a mess. And today, I really wanted to kind of just take it easy and just kind of relax and just kind of stick to my, normal day-to-day routine when I am not working and not working my day job. But yeah, just my stomach has been a little bit off. Mike Lindsley was supposed to be on the show this week with the, Wednesday docket, but I couldn't get him on due to the fact that I had the stomach bug. But Mike Lindsley will be on next week. Mike Lindsley, great buddy of mine, Twitter friend, Facebook friend, whatever you want to call it. But I was on his podcast, The Sports Platter, a couple months ago, and I really enjoyed it. He asked me some really awesome questions, and it's one of my favorite, guest spots that I've ever done, to be honest, because Mike and I covered a lot of topics, some of which came to fruition, one of them being LeSean McCoy's status with the Buffalo Bills. We know what happened with that. He is now a Kansas City Chief. So we're going to really talk about that and talk about the season and talk about much, much more. But before we get to that point, next Wednesday, October 9th, I wanted to hop on here and really just dive into something that I feel like needs to be stated, something that I feel like needs to be talked about, discussed, brought to the attention of football fans everywhere, and that is the aftermath of Josh Allen's hit, the helmet-to-helmet hit from Jonathan Jones to Josh Allen. Now, Sunday's Thomas Takeover postgame show, I was given the floor. Alex Shoup gave me the floor. Degenerate Al of Trainwreck Sports gave me the floor and said, here you go. Go off. Here you go. I went off. I went on to say, why should I feel like as a football fan, my quarterback isn't being protected in comparison to the other 31 quarterbacks in the National Football League? I shouldn't have to feel that way. We should not be subjected as Bills fans to that. If Roger Goodell is going to guarantee the safety of each quarterback is going to guarantee that helmet hits on quarterbacks under any circumstances will not be allowed. Why did I have to go through that as a fan? Why am I going through this as a fan now where my quarterback, Josh Allen, of my favorite team, the Buffalo Bills, team that I cover on this podcast and so many others, why do I have to feel like we have just hit a roadblock in the season due to the fact that this bum D-back for the New England Patriots decided to helmet-to-helmet hit Josh Allen? And there's a lot of reasons why. And these reasons why are in large part the quote-unquote aftermath of this situation. This situation is ever-flowing. This situation is ever-changing because every day since this past Sunday, someone has come out and made a boneheaded, stupid statement. I'm going to start off with what I went through the Monday morning of as a someone that's following this situation, as a podcast host, knowing that I would talk about this, knowing full well that at some point I would get on the mic and talk about this very week, this week currently. Little did I know that there'd be other people saying things and quotes and reporters and people in the sports world that would be saying things in regards to this whole situation. But New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady went on the Tom Brady morning show or whatever it is that 4 people listen to and said something to the tune of, when I was young, I was taught that if you want to run the ball and you don't want to slide, you won't have a long career. So Tom Brady kind of, puffs his chest out and says, here I am 20 years into my illustrious career, and part of the reason why I've lasted this long is because I don't run a lot, and when I do run, I slide. I avoid the damage. I avoid the hits. My first thought of that, okay, as just a diehard football fan, Tom Brady's kind of nitpicking a weakness, I should say, of Josh Allen's, the fact that Josh Allen does get hit, the fact that Josh Allen does run a lot and does take hits, and that Josh Allen did, in fact, put himself in a position to be hit head-to-head. Whether it was right or wrong that player decided to hit him helmet to helmet, Josh Allen did put himself in that position when he did decide to run. Does that make that helmet-to-helmet hit right? Hell no. Hell no. That doesn't make that helmet-to-helmet hit right, but I will say that. And Tom Brady's saying, that he wouldn't have made that mistake or that he knew from a young age that he needed to slide or that he needed to get out of bounds, or the exact quote is I don't have the exact quote. And the reason why I don't have the exact quote is that I'm just so flabbergasted by the fact that Tom Brady would even comment on this, knowing full well that he's been one of the most protected quarterbacks of this entire era of football. That is not for debate. I could be a New England Patriots fan, and I would be honest in saying that. That is not for debate. Tom Brady kind of started this whole no late hits, no low hits, no helmet-to-helmet hits on the quarterback when he was playing in a game against Kansas City Chiefs, and the safety Bernard Pollard, hit him below the knee and tore his knee up. And Brady was out for the entire season. After that, the NFL decided to really crack down on these hits. But if that was what made Tom Brady a better quarterback at a young age, if someone told him, hey, you need to slide, and if you're going to run and not slide, you won't last that long. If that scared Tom Brady so much that it forced him to not run or slide when he did run, what did they tell him after the tuck rule? What did they tell him after he fumbled when Charles Woodson blitzed him and he dropped the ball in that snow and the Raiders got it back? What did they tell Tom Brady after that? Hold on to the ball tighter? What did they tell Tom Brady when Adam Vinatieri kicked those field goals to win them Super Bowls? What did they tell Tom Brady when Randy Moss was brought in as a disgruntled wide receiver weapon for a team that didn't have one? What did they tell Tom Brady when they drafted Rob Gronkowski? What did they tell Tom Brady when you get the point. What did they tell Tom Brady when they brought in Antonio Brown? The fact that Tom Brady would even comment on this in a public forum was shocking to me and very, very ill-advised. If you don't want the haters or the dogs to come barking, don't bark at us first. That's my motto. Don't bark at us first if you don't want us to bark back at you. I was taught at a very young age to learn how to slide and to avoid the rush and to avoid this and to avoid. It's like you didn't have to avoid anything. You didn't have to avoid anything. Then you have the fact that this is on, as I said, this is on a radio show, and here's the exact quote. A lot of quarterbacks who do run, they're trying to make yards, and it's great. At the same time, you're susceptible to big hits, whether it's flagged or not, whether it's a penalty. A lot of the rules have changed over the years, but from a quarterback standpoint, I feel like it's always best to try to be available to the team. And it's trying to take risk, reward, and so forth. Nobody likes to see anybody get hurt out there. From my own experience, I try to do the best I can to avoid any big shots like that. Right. Because you know just as well as anyone that if you took a hit like Josh Allen took, you'd be out of it. Tom Brady doesn't even like to get breathed on, let alone take a quote-unquote shot. Josh Allen has taken a lot of shots, and he gets right back up. Josh Allen took a helmet-to-helmet shot, not a regular hit. We're talking about a helmet-to-helmet shot. And the fact that Brady responds to some of Jordan Poyer's comments and to Micah Hyde's comments, you never like to see anyone get hurt out there. Football is a contact sport. It's part of football. Really? I was scrambling up the right side and tried to hold on to the ball and tried to slide late. The guy hit me and hit my helmet, flew back about 10 yards away. It kind of riled up their whole sideline. I remember the next day, Coach Belichick said to me, I'll never forget this. He said, hey, Brady, if you want to have a career in this league, when you're running like that, you either throw the ball away or slide. And then the emperor of the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick, felt like he needed to weigh in. First, I want to talk about Sean McDermott's comments, and the Buffalo Bills coach, as always, very classy, says, quote, there's no room in football for that. It is a shame to see a player like Josh, or any player for that matter, go down on a hit like that. I asked for an explanation. I thought he should have been thrown out. Other than that, I'm not going to get into that at all. That is for the league to get into. And this was the nationally televised 1 o'clock game. Bill Belichick says, quote, I think when there isn't really much you can tell them to do differently, then I think you don't tell them anything. I mean, Allen's a big runner. He's a strong guy. He's hard to tackle. He certainly broke several tackles against us. John turned when we hit him. He didn't lead with his head. He didn't have that posture. So again, I think the NFL VP of officiating, Al Riveron, talked about the play Sunday, and that's what we go by. So we'll coach it based on what Al's guidelines or commentary was on the play. Riveron, who was the referee of that game, says, well, we looked at it, and in this situation, we didn't feel that the contact rose to the level of an ejection. The contact wasn't hard enough. And yet, the NFL is trying to avoid hard contact at all, right? At least head-to-head contact. But it wasn't hard enough. Oh, okay. That makes sense. The player actually turns. Obviously, there is helmet contact, but we have standards for an ejection. So now they have standards. Now you're meaning to tell me that the NFL officiating crews have standards. Wow, that is breaking news. I didn't know that. I didn't know that the NFL referee crews had quote-unquote standards for hard contact or not hard contact. I'd like to see one of these referees simulate the hit by actually getting hit head-to-head and find out if they're hurt from that hit, or if they could go back into a game from that hit, or if they could even remember what day it is from that hit, or if they could even remember what their name is from that hit. Josh Allen did get back to his feet. Josh Allen did trot off the field and tried to pump up the crowd, but Josh Allen was not even on this planet for about 4 solid minutes. I've seen plenty of fighters get knocked out. I've seen plenty of football players get knocked out from a head-to-head hit. You are not back in the swing of things for another 10 to 15, 20 minutes. I myself have had concussions before, whether it was from wrestling, whether it was from football, even from baseball. Actually, my worst concussion was from baseball, believe it or not. I'll tell that story at a later point. But now you got standards for how hard a hit is? Why don't you strap him up? Why don't you put a helmet on? Put your chin strap on, ref. Let's see you take a helmet-to-helmet hit, and then tell me if it wasn't hard enough. At Matt Doloff, whoever this idiot is, this angle shows why Jonathan Jones avoided an ejection, trying to establish shoulder contact. Neither lowered his head nor launched into Allen, and Allen is running forward with his helmet down. Perhaps an unnecessary hit, but Allen invited contact with the way he ran here. Oh, so he invited... God. This is stupid. He invited contact. The NFL has verbatim told us that they don't want helmet-to-helmet contact anymore with quarterbacks. And being that the Buffalo Bills have been looked at as the runt of the litter of the NFL, any which decade this century, whether it's the 2000s, the 2010s, 2015, it was until 2015 that the Buffalo Bills fan base felt like they were going to be a part of the NFL for the next 100 years. It was until 2015 we didn't know if we would have a team. And the NFL didn't really show that they were interested in keeping us around. They wanted us to play games in Toronto. You remember that? They wanted us to go to Toronto and test the international market, as they've done in London, as they've tried to do in Mexico City, as they tried to do in Canada, and it failed. Now, you mean to tell me that the NFL cares about the Buffalo Bills? No, this is a clear example that they do not. I'm sorry. Buffalo versus everybody, I feel that with this particular situation. I don't like to be that guy that says Buffalo is looked down at. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. After this, I can confirm it. They didn't care enough to protect this quarterback on this team for God knows why. I could tell you it's just business, but it's not. If they want to go out and they want to say that quarterback safety matters in the National Football League, it should matter for every damn team that is in the league, period. And that's it. That's all. Bill Belichick says, we coached Jonathan Jones, oddly enough, his name's Jonathan Jones, like the UFC light heavyweight disaster. We coached him to do that. Really? Did you coach Rob Gronkowski to launch his head at Trey White too? Did you coach such and such to... It's a joke. Add all of what I just said. You can take it or leave it. But you can definitely take it and understand it. Next segue point, you have another helmet-to-helmet hit, another helmet-to-helmet player, where Vontaze Burfict, who is known full well around the National Football League, amongst its fans, writers, pundits, whatever you want to say, is known to be a dirty player. He was a dirty player with the Cincinnati Bengals. He was embraced as being a dirty player for the Oakland Raiders. That's what they wanted him to be. That's what they brought him in for. They wanted him to be that silver and black. I'm going to you up. You know the adjective in there, the blank word. That's what they wanted. They want him to come in and jack guys up, blast their heads off the turf, and that's what he did to Jack Doyle. They're surprised that Vontaze Burfict gets suspended for an entire season. I'm not. Vontaze Burfict shouldn't be. But what I am surprised about is Vontaze hits Jack Doyle helmet to helmet. He gets suspended for a season only because there's a precedent of this player continuing to do this, and yet John Jones on the New England Patriots gets nothing. Not a fine, not a suspension, nothing. I thought helmet-to-helmet hits mattered in the National Football League. Apparently they do, but they don't matter for Josh Allen. They don't matter for a second-year quarterback that has a long, bright future in this league, that you are jeopardizing his health. Now, how am I supposed to watch Josh Allen on that field for the Buffalo Bills when he is back to 100% and think to myself, this league will protect him. This league will make sure that he'll be okay. I can't think that. And that's not fair as a football fan. That is not fair as a Buffalo Bills fan. I shouldn't have to think that. I believe in my heart of hearts, if it was any other quarterback on any other team, if Josh Allen played for the Patriots, let's just say, and this happened, he would get that that punishment from that player that did that to him. Better yet, if Micah Hyde, as he said, if he did that to Tom Brady, oh my God, he'd probably be banned for life. Obviously, I'm over-exaggerating there, but he would be suspended and fined. Such a joke. Well, Josh Allen can brush it off because he's young. I think that's not an exaggeration, because there's been moments where Tom Brady was playing out there, Drew Brees was playing out there, and they tell the opposing defense to go light on Tommy, go light on Drew, go light on Big Ben. Excuse me? Come again? What? Go light? What? This is football, right? That's what we're talking about. That is the game that we pay to see, whether it's with our cable provider, whether we buy a stub and walk into the stadium. Yes, CTE is real. Yes, concussions are a problem. Yes, football is violent. Every single player knows that when they step out there. Every coach knows that when they coach these players. Every coach knows what they are coaching these guys to do. It's violent. It's on a field where guys are running full speed at one another with padding that is not that protective. I'm sorry, it's just not. So don't give me this bullshit about how Bill Belichick, we taught him how to hit like that. And that's what we want out of John Jones there. That's what we want out of John Jones, and we thought that's how he should have hit Josh Allen there, right? Helmet to helmet, crown of his head on the crown of Josh Allen's head. That's what we want. And then you got Tom Brady. Well, I was taught not to do that when I was young. Honest, I have a lot of respect for Tom Brady, but the first two letters that I thought of when I heard Tom Brady say that, F you. Honest to God, that was the first thought that I thought. Makes me sick. What deluded sense of reality does Tom Brady live in that, because he was told 20 years ago that he was told not to slide, or he was told to slide and to avoid that? What deluded sense of reality does Tom Brady live in? Tom Brady is a great quarterback. He's probably the best to ever do it. I would definitely go as far as saying that. I've said it multiple times. But Tom Brady is probably the most scared quarterback when facing a pass rush. It's why he lost that Super Bowl against the New York Giants not once, but twice. It's why he lost that Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles. So did Bill Belichick tell him how to be a better quarterback after that? Did Bill Belichick say, hey, you didn't avoid the rush? Did Tom Brady learn after that? No. Did Tom Brady learn after that the second time? No. Did Tom Brady learn after that the third time? No. Did Tom Brady learn that when playing against the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium, AFC Championship game, Von Miller draped all over him? No, he did not. I thought that was a really ignorant interview by Tom Brady. And I thought it was even more ignorant from Bill Belichick to say that wasn't a helmet-to-helmet hit. After he had cleaned Allen's clock, helmet-to-helmet, watch the replay. Watch it again. If it takes 40 times, watch it again. Jones hits him. Allen is unconscious. And Jones flexes and clenches his fists over Josh Allen's knocked out body. on the field. If that isn't deliberate, if that isn't intentional, you're out of your goddamn minds. You really are. You really are. And furthermore, this could really screw up Buffalo's season. It really could. I hate to say that, but it really could, because this upcoming week they play Tennessee in Tennessee. Matt Barkley looked horrible coming in for Josh Allen. I hate to say it. I know the situation wasn't ideal, but as a backup, it never is ideal. And Matt Barkley looked really bad. He looked scared. The play calling with Matt Barkley in there was even worse by Brian Daboll, kind of putting Matt Barkley on an island, and you had to throw the ball. It was just a bad situation. But some of the play designs, I guess you could say, I didn't really like, haven't really liked from Daboll lately, especially these last 2 weeks. But maybe last 3 weeks. But Matt Barkley needs to be prepared for these Tennessee Titans, obviously. He's preparing as if he's the starter. Josh Allen on the fritz, probably not going to play. Then Buffalo has a bye week. Then Buffalo plays Miami. Ideally, I'd like to think that Josh Allen will be rocking and raring to go for that game, because he needs to be. Because if Matt Barkley loses to Tennessee as the Bills' starting quarterback this Sunday, then we got some real problems, because we're then 3-2. 3-0 evaporates to 3-2, and then you got Miami, who is itching to make a statement and itching to win, even though they're probably not going to at all this year. You never know. You never know. When you drop 2 in a row, it's never a good look. It changes the morale of the team, and you can get into a funk, and I would hate to see that. But just throwing that out there. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I think Buffalo actually has a real good shot at beating Tennessee, but I said it earlier today on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast Facebook page that I think this Tennessee-Bills game is a lot tougher than what Bills fans think. Marcus Mariota seems to be coming into his own. Derrick Henry is a solid running back. Deion Lewis obviously poses a threat. He's had some of the biggest games in his career against Buffalo, whether he was with the Titans or the Patriots. He's had a great career, in that role of being a pass catching running back. Brown, the receiver for the Tennessee Titans, has been very good these last couple weeks. The rookie, and Tennessee's defense seemed to be prepared under new head coach Mike Vrabel. Also a Bill Belichick disciple, I guess you could say. But I mean, what an ignorant thing to say from Tom Brady, an ignorant thing to say from Bill Belichick, and even more troublesome is the fact that Burfict gets suspended for a season only based on the fact that there's a precedent. Really, a season is a long time, and that's a great suspension. He deserves it. But if he gets a season, why does Jones get nothing? That's my point. If Jones wants one game and a fine, if that's what we want for him and that's what he gets, that's great. Give him something. Just nothing. That is as true a spit in the face to the Buffalo Bills from Roger Goodell that I have ever seen. It's like Roger Goodell hawking a massive loogie in the face of Terry Pegula, Brandon Beane, and Sean McDermott, and Kim Pegula as well. She's the most powerful woman in the NFL. It just really disrespectful on a lot of different accounts. And honest, if I'm Ed Oliver, if I'm Shaq Lawson, if I'm Jerry Hughes, I'm putting a true hit on Tom Brady. And whatever comes after that. Let's go. Fire up the cannons. Let's batten down the hatches. Do whatever you got to do to get this guy hurt. I'm not that type of guy to call for that. But they take out our guy, we take out their guy. This isn't hockey, but it is football. And somewhere along the way, when the 3 letters CTE were discovered, football changed forever, and it will never be the same. I know that. But I also have to understand that they have to understand, I should say, that football is football still. You can't make it safer. You can make it somewhat safer, but you can't avoid a teammate sticking up for a teammate. You can fine them for it, like Ford was. Oh, the NFL is such a joke. They really are. That is my biggest takeaway of this whole thing, is that the NFL is a true joke. I hope Josh Allen can get back to full strength soon. If he misses this week and then is out the bye week, that's okay. Hopefully Matt Barkley can hold the fort down. Davis Webb will also be brought up from the practice squad. That'll be very interesting as well. Time will tell on that. Nonetheless, I'm Ryan Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. The Buffalo Sabres, opening night in Pittsburgh tonight. Right now it is 3-1 Buffalo. It looks to me, watching it looks to me like Ralph Krueger is leading a very high-pressure, end-to-end team. And I like what I'm seeing from the Sabres right now. I really do. I know it's not week one. Day one, game one. And there's a lot of season left, obviously, but I like what I'm seeing in terms of the differences of the playing style from Housley to Krueger. I think it's an improvement so far. So, whatever that means, we'll find out in the near future. I'm Ryan Thomas. It was the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Take care, everybody.